Hello friends. Up to the last video, we we have covered about control flow statements provided by Java. And in that series, we have discussed about all the control flow statements that is there in Java, started from if else. We have also covered switch, and in looping category, we have discussed three loops like for, do while, and while. And also we have seen how for is looping is basically helpful for us, right? Okay, now before getting into the next one, I'll just want to recall few behaviors of this particular statements. As we know, if else is basically the first two statements are basically statements which we're calling as a selection statement, and the remaining statements we're calling as this one as calling all this one as iterative statements, looping statements, or repetitive statements. Now the normal behavior of this looping statements are all these statements are executed repeatedly up to a certain condition is satisfied. This is the normal behavior. Similarly, the normal behavior of the selection statements are like the selection statements are executed only if the conditions are true, or if the condition is false, then the second part of the statements will be executed if it is there, right? Now, in real-time programming, while developing an application or developing a software, there might be requirement like I want or we want to exit. We want to exit from a loop before the normal termination. What I mean to say is normal termination. What I mean to say is, suppose I have written a loop like for I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 10, followed by I plus plus. If I'll ask all of you, can you please tell me for how many times this particular loop will be going to be executed? The answer is quite simple. It will start with 0 and it will go up to 10. So 0 to 10, 11 number of times this particular loop will be executing uninterruptedly without any difficulties, right? And the same behavior will be there for while, and same behavior in case of do while also, right? Suppose my requirement is I want to exit at some point of time. At some point of time, I don't want the loop to be continued up to the last one, right? Now, that is the case when I want to exit or terminate the loop abnormally, not normally. There might be some requirement like this. So, for example, I have a daily routine. I have to travel from place A to my workplace B. This is the normal. This is the normal way I used to travel every day. There might be some requirement in some day, in some one fine morning, I have started to my office, but in the meantime, I found heavy rain is there. I got the message from one of my colleague, कि your office is declared as holiday today. Now, immediately I need to terminate my normal workflow. So this is the situation where I have to terminate the normal behavior or the normal practice what we are doing, right? Perfect. Like if our requirement is like this, to meet all these requirements, we have a bunch of statements called as jumping statements. Clear all of you why jumping statements are required? Jumping statements are required. Some people call this one as also transfer control statements. You can call this as transfer control statements, or you can call this as jumping statement. Whatever you are comfortable in both the terminologies, these are right. And why these statements are required? As I repeat, if at some point of time we require to terminate the loop before its normal termination, then we should go for this kind of statement, right? We can take one more example. Suppose there is a requirement. Can you please add 100 numbers? 100, can you input 100 numbers from your terminal and go on adding all the 100 numbers? But there is a condition. If in between a negative number is inputted, you have to terminate at that point of time. Clear? So my requirement is I have to add I have to input how many numbers? 100 numbers. Definitely my loop will go like I have to write some scanner class kind of thing. We'll be discussing that one quite later. Suppose my requirement is I have to input how many numbers? I have to input 100 numbers. So 0 to 99 is 100 loop, right? Okay. Now let's say there is some kind of input statement which will give me input, right? Suppose I am writing something like s is equal to, this is not exactly Java statements. Since we are not acquainted with scanner class on, where I am not going to write all those statements. So suppose there is some kind of input statements in Java, and that input statement is basically stored in a variable called as ss. Now what we'll do, we'll go on adding this ss in a sum variable, right? Now there is a question, what is my requirement? My requirement is either I have to go on adding 100 numbers, or I need to go on adding all the numbers till a negative number is inputted. Means if a negative number is inputted, I have to terminate. If a negative number is not inputted, I have to terminate normally. That means I need to check whether if ss is less than 0, that means I say this is a negative number. Now from this point onwards, I don't want to carry this loop for furthermore. I don't want the loop to be carried out up to the last condition, right? So these are the requirements when I should go for a jumping statement, right? This is why we require jumping statement. I hope you all are clear up to this point why we require a jumping statement, right? Okay. Now Java gives me some jumping statements, but we will discuss two jumping statements here. One is break and the second one is of course continue. We'll discuss only these two statements. Apart from that, we have return, we have try and catch. We'll discuss that one later on as the class progresses or the video progresses. We'll learn about them. But today we'll be only concentrating on break and continue, right? Okay, let's start with break. See, as the name suggests, break, what it does, same thing that the break is applicable for switch. What it does, it will immediately terminate the block, or you can say the loop, within which it is declared. Once this particular break statement is executed, it will immediately terminate the block. We'll see about the block, but let's start with terminate the loop within which it is declared, right? It will immediately terminate without, regardless of the loop is completed all its iteration or not. Means, say for example, if I'll consider about the first one, this particular loop will be terminated only value of I will be it will be terminated only if value of I will be 11. Up to 10 this will be happily executing, but at value will be 11, definitely it will be getting terminated. That I'll call normal termination. But here this particular statement will help me to terminate the loop as per my requirement without completing the whole iteration, right? Now we'll see every example of that one, don't worry. Let us understand where this is applicable and how this particular one behaves, right? Okay, in other words, what we can say, it will bypass, it will bypass the flow of loop, flow of execution of a loop to outside the loop. What it will do, it will bypass the flow of execution of the loop, and what it will do, it will put the loop or transfer the control to the outside of the loop. This is what the normal behavior of break statement is. Now, the third point, where break is applicable, it will be used where it is used, where it can be used. First of all, we have already seen it can be used in switch. Second, it can be used in all the loops. And the third one is a blocked statement. Blocked label, you can say, or you can say in a block. We'll discuss about all these three sections. A switch statement can be used either in switch. The break statement can be used either in switch or in any loop or in a block. Other than these three, you cannot use break anywhere else. Whenever we are using a break, we should make sure that we are using this particular one in either of these three categories, right? Okay. Now, let us see how the break statement will be. Then see, already in case of switch, we have clearly discussed how break is basically helpful in switch. One statement I think definitely I want to write here. Why we are using break in switch? To avoid fall through conditions. I am not going to discuss this one here because we have already discussed very thoroughly about that particular one. Now next we'll talk about loops here. Right? Okay. Now, suppose, say for example, I am writing a loop called as for I equals to 0, I less than equal to 10. The same loop I am taking I plus plus. And if I am writing like system.out.println followed by I, immediately you will say, if you are writing this, definitely my output will be going from 0, 1 up to 10. At 11, this will be terminated, right? Okay. Now, let us see how break statement can be used. Suppose I am putting a condition here. If I equals to 6, can you please break? So now let's see how this particular statement is basically working, right? Fine. Whenever I is equal to 0, 0 will be getting printed up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There will be no problem at all. Once value of I will be reaching at 6, immediately this particular statement will be getting executed. Once break is getting invoked or getting executed, it will immediately take the control out of the loop, and it will start executing the statement immediately after the close curly bracket of the loop. Now the control is transferred from here to here, right? This is the behavior of break. Once break is invoked, all other statements after this one will be leave unexecuted and the loop will be terminated at immediate effect. This is the behavior of loop, not only for but also for any kind of loop, right? Okay, if you want to cross check, we can also have some example here. Let's see. Suppose I am writing integer I equals to 0 for I equals to 1, I less than equals to 10 followed by I plus plus. And if I am writing within the curly braces, if I am writing this is I, sorry, and at the end of the loop I want one more statement. Here I am writing end of the loop. Now if I execute this particular program, definitely I'll get the output from 1 to 10 followed by after 10 at what I'll get end of the loop, right? So this is the normal scenario. I think I don't have to execute the program. This is quite simple. I don't want to execute the program, right? Now suppose I'm writing here if I equals to 5. Sorry, I equals to 5. Can you please break? Now let us analyze what is going to happen. Same that we have discussed. it will go on printing from 1 to 5, no problem at all. But when I will be reaching at, sorry, it will go on printing from 1 to 4. When I will be reaching at 5, when value of I will be 5, immediately this particular condition will be true and the break statement will be executed. If break statement will be executed, it will be coming out of the loop. That means it will go on printing 1, 2, 3, 4 followed by end of the loop. And in the previous case, if this statement will be not there, it will be like 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, then end of the loop. I think you can easily differentiate between loop with break and loop without break. Let us execute this program so that you can understand. Test.java. The code should compile fine. Java followed by test. I think I have not saved that program. Yes. So this is the effect of the previous program because I have not saved that program. So for how many times it is getting executed? 1 to 10 followed by end of the loop. Now, once I save this program, once I save this program, now 100% pakka, I'll getting the output 1 to 4 followed by end of loop. That's great. See, it is printing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by end of the loop, right? So this is the output. This is the beauty of using a break. If you require this kind of thing, happily you can use the break statement. Clear? Okay. Now, same behavior is also applicable for while also. Now, let us understand the next one. Suppose I am writing here for int, I am going for a nested loop. J less than equal to maybe 5 followed by j plus plus. Now, why I am writing this? Just to avoid any confusion if you have. Now here you can observe how many loops I have used. I have used 2 loops. This is the outer loop, this is the inner loop. Now the question is, if I am writing a break here, which loop is going to be terminated? Only the break present inside the loop. See, if I am writing only break, remember, if I am writing only break without anything, make sure you understand this point. If I am writing break only, remember, break can only terminate the loop where it is defined, not any other loop. Doesn't matter it is the inner loop, doesn't matter wherever it is. It will only terminate the loop immediately where it is defined. Got my point? Okay. So now if I'll execute this particular program, what is going to happen? Similarly, 1 to 5, I'll get up to 1 to 5, then end of the loop. Again 1 to 5 because I'll definitely see that one for how many times? For 6 times. Isn't it? So the same behavior is going to work. Let me reduce this one so that you can understand. Suppose I am writing here, not, let me put a smaller loop. So 0 to 2, that means 3 times. If I have saved that program, 100% pakka, we are going to see first one, second one, and third one. See which one will terminated? The inner loop is only terminated. If the inner loop will be not terminated, definitely I'll see this particular one only once. So it is clear, right? Now, definitely you will ask me, sir, what if I want to terminate the outer loop? Again, the things are very simple. Let us define that outer loop inside a block. How to define that one? This is the best way. See what I have done? I have declared a label called as L1, and inside L1 I have put all my indentation is not required. This is I am writing only for convenience. It is not mandated you should write like that, but it's a better programming practice. Now what is happened here? I have written L1. Within L1 this for loop is there, and this is the inner for loop. Now if I am writing break only, listen very carefully. If I am writing break only, this will come down to here. Right? This will come down to here. Now, in case I am writing break followed by L1, break followed by N1, that means whenever value of I is 5, this statement will take you out of the L1. If you want, you can also put a bracket here if you want. Otherwise, we'll see it without a bracket. Then we'll see what is going to happen. Now, this L1 is basically closed where for loop is closed. This for loop is closed. This is the first for loop. This is the second for loop. Now, once I will be 5, nothing will going to be executed. What we can do for for our conveniency, for checking purpose, let us put one statement here. I am writing end of L1, right? Let's see. So this statement will be, this statement doesn't belong to L1, right? Now let's see what is going to happen. The code is compiling fine. See, whenever I'm executing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not only the inner loop, this inner loop is not terminated now. Which one is terminated? The block is terminated. Immediately it will take you out of the block. And the block is basically up to this. This is the block statement. Now, if I'm writing break followed by a block, this particular block will be terminated. Neither this for loop nor this for loop. So remember, whenever you are using a break statement, make sure you understand all the rules and all the regulations of using a break statement. Clear? I hope that is clear, right? Okay. Suppose I am writing L2 here. I am writing L2 here. Yeah, it is possible. Within L1, we can also write L2. That means we can clearly say L2 is basically, this is the thing for L2, right? And the outer one is for L1. This is for L1, right? Similarly, if I am writing here break not L1 followed by L2, what is going to happen? To which, or if break statement is invoked here L2, the control will transfer to out of L2, means to this statement only, because L2 is up to this, so it will be transferring to this particular block, right? Okay, so not only that, we can also create a lot of labels, and we can also break any label. We can go up to the outer label, 2, 3, 4 doesn't matter. We can go up to the outer label, or we can break any label within which it is defined only with a statement break followed by L2. If you are not writing L2, immediately it will be the current loop where it is defined. If break followed by label name, accordingly. Clear? I hope this particular part is pretty clear to all of you, right? So what is the role of break? Break will transfer your control to the next statement of the loop, whether where it is defined, or of the block where it is called. Either of these. And for switch, we have already defined, it will be for the avoidance of fall through, right? So this is all about your break. Simple thing you got to remember, where break is used, we can use in switch, we can use in loops, or we can use in blocks. In 3 places, we can happily use switch without any problem, right? Okay, now let us see the reverse one, that is continue. This is all about break. Now we can go for continue statement. First point about continue, it is just reverse of a break statement. See, break statement is there to terminate the loop or the block or the switch statement immediately from where it is invoked with all the rules and regulations we have just covered. But switch, what it will do? It will continue from that position onwards. Only the current iteration will be skipped. Right? What we can write here? Once invoked, it is once invoked, what it will do? It will transfer the control, or the control returns to the next iteration of the loop and leaving the rest of the statement leaving the rest of the statement non-executed for that iteration, right? So can you read this one again? Whenever continue statement is invoked, what it will do, its control the control returns to the next iteration of the loop. See, the current iteration will be skipped from that point onwards and it will go to the next iteration. Loop will not be terminated, only current iteration will be skipped. Current iteration will be skipped and the remaining statement after then will not be executed for that current iteration. Say for example, we are writing a statement called as for here. For, we'll start with simple example, then we'll go through. I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 10, followed by I plus plus. We'll take the same example, system.out.println, system.out.println followed by I. Now, this is simple. This is a simple one. You can say, sir, fine, we understand this will from 0 to 10. When it is 11, the loop will be terminated. Now, let us modify this one. I am writing if I equals to 5. Can you please continue? Can you please continue? See, let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. Now, as far as this particular program is concerned, the loop will continue from 0. Since this is not true, this particular statement will not be executed. So 0 will be done, 1 will be done, 2 will be done, 3 will be no problem, 4 will be no problem. But when value of I is 5, when the value of I is 5, now the current iteration for 5 will be skipped. This will take you directly to this one and the loop will continue. That means when the value is 5, this particular statement will remain unexecuted. This will not going to be executed. Can you read this one? Control returns to the next iteration. When it is 5, when I say continue, iteration for value 5 will be skipped. Now it will be again to value 6. The iteration for I is equal to 5 will be skipped. Next iteration will be immediate effect. That is, after 4, 6, from 6 it will be continued. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, fine. But which one will not be executed? For 5 it will be not executed. Let us cross check, then we'll go through some other conclusion about continue. We'll use the same program. We'll use that same program that we have used. Instead of all of this, let me delete the entire one. I don't want all this. I don't want this. I think it is fine. Instead of this, let me write this particular statement after this, and instead of this break, let me write continue. Now, here we can clearly say 1 will be displayed, 2 will be displayed. Let's see what is going to happen here. Then we'll discuss how this particular loop will behave. Compile this program. I think the code should compile fine. Execute the program, right? Now, can you observe here? 1 is displayed, 2 is displayed, 3 is displayed, 4 is, but 5 is skipped. This is actually, this particular one is due to continue statement. Whenever it finds 5, the remaining statement will be skipped. So which statement are skipped? You can cross check. This particular statement will be skipped for 5, because once continue is there, the control will be transferred to this immediately. So for that iteration, the remaining statements will not be executed. Clear? Right. Similarly, the same rule applicable here. If I am using a nested loop, the continue will be only affected to the loop where it is defined, not any other loop, right? And similarly, as far as label is concerned, it will behave like same. If I have an outer loop and I'm using a continue statement, same. It can transfer the control. So the behavior is same. Like break will terminate, this will skip, same. So if you want to cross check, we can use one more thing here. J is equal to 1, j less than equals to 2, followed by j plus plus. Let me write this one. Within this, let me write here, let me put this one in L1, no problem at all. I can write continue L1. Now what is going to happen? Once this particular statement will be executed, now the control will be directly goes to here. Directly goes to here. So for j is equal to 1, for j is equal to 1, this will be printed from 1 to 5. 1 to 4, I'm sorry, 1 to 4. Now, from again for j is equal to 2, it will be again printing 1 to 4. Got my point? So it can never complete this particular loop. Let us cross check. Since it will force the outer block to continue, let us see how it behaves. See, as we discussed, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 for j is equal to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 for j is equal to 2. Got my point? Now, whenever let us get back to the code, we can discuss there. See, the code says whenever L1 is encountered, what is that? It directly come down to here. So previously, if L1 is not there, it will be coming down to here. So this particular loop is continued with current iteration skipped. But here L1 continue, L1 means I have to transfer my control back to the label, and the current loop or current iteration of the outer loop will be skipped. What is the current iteration? Current iteration was j is equal to 1. Second time the current iteration will be j is equal to 2. Right. For j is equal to 1, it will print 1 to 5. For j is equal to 2, again it will print 1 to 5. It cannot able to complete the entire one. That is not due to continuity. That is not the abnormal behavior, because this will happen for continue itself. I hope this will give you some clear-cut idea, right? So to conclude, where continue can be used, we have clearly seen where continue can be used in two places. One in any loop, and the second in block, in a Java block, right? Block means few statements can be combined into a block, and that block can be defined like this. For a block name is basically an identifier name followed by a colon. If you want, you can put a curly braces also. If you want to confirm the content of a block, you can also use a curly braces, no problem at all, right? Okay. So now defining a block is also applicable, also allowed in Java. You can also do that, right? Now, these are the normal behavior of a break statement followed by a continue statement, right? One thing I'll definitely tell you, let us do some other exercise. Now, as far as the behavior of continue statement is concerned, we have cleared. It will skip the current. Yeah, it will skip the current iteration, and next iteration will again be started. So that current iteration will be skipped from that point onwards when continue will be invoked, right? Okay. Now let us check for while. I am writing I less than equal to 10, right? Okay. Now tell me, if I am writing I plus plus here followed by system.out.println followed by I, what is going to happen? Can somebody tell me what will be the output of this particular program? You will say, sir, the output will be 1, 2 up to 10. Why it is 1? Because I have written I plus plus at the beginning of the loop, right? Okay. Now look at me what I am doing. Suppose I am writing here if I equals to 5. I'll write continue. I'll write continue, right? And here I want to write system, sorry, I want to write one statement followed by, I'm writing after, or I'm writing last statement of do while to cross check, right? Now, listen to me very carefully. Now, can you please confirm what is the behavior of continue? What continue will do? Continue will keep the current iteration. Now, if that, as per the definition, the current iteration occurs when the value of I will be 5. Clear? Now, next question is whether this will go back to do or this will go back to while. Now, this is the biggest question. For all other loops, we are clear because conditions are present at the top, so it will go to the top. Now here the problem is the loop is started here and the loop is terminated here, and the condition is present at the end of the loop. Now the question is, if I write continue, up which section, from which section it will be continued? Like we can understand one will be printed. See how the loops will behave, like one will be printed followed by last statement of do while. Again, 2 will be printed followed by last statement. Am I right? 3 will be printed, then this statement and this statement. Again, 4 will be printed, fine. Even 5 will be printed. 5, this one will be definitely printed, right? Now, continue will be there. Now, question is whether this particular statement will be executed, or after 5 no such statement will be executed. After 6 then the statement will be executed. I think you are getting my point. Let me write it one more time, right? When the value of I is 0, well, I'm starting the loop. Now value of I is 1 for the first step. What it will going to print? It will going to print 1. I think there is no confusion. Since this is false, so no effect of continue is there. Immediately this step will be displayed. The step says last statement of do while. This is iteration number 1. Now, again condition will be true because I is 1. Now, immediately I will be 2. So, you say that 2 will be getting printed. This is again has no effect. Again, last statement will be getting printed. Now, for 3, again the last statement will be getting printed. I think this you can understand. For 4, last statement will be getting printed. Now for 5, definitely 5 is printed. Now my question is, after 5 is getting printed, 5 will be getting printed 100%, no problem at all. Now after 5 is getting printed, now my question is whether, whether it will come down to here or it will go back to here. Question is, which one will be there? That is the biggest question, right? Okay, let's see. Remember, it is always, whenever you are writing like this, it is always it will transfer to here, followed by this particular statement will be executed, then this will be executed, it will go on and on and on, right? Okay, even you can, we can also cross check in a different way. Let us see what exactly this one behaves, then we'll go through. See, statement number 1, last statement. Statement number 2, last statement. Statement number 3, last statement. Statement number 4, last. But after 5, that is skipped. Which one is executed? 6 is executed, right? You can also say, sir, if normally it can come down here, the same story will happen, right? Again, it will go back and it is not confirmed that this particular line will be executed or not. Okay, let's say that's fine. That is absolutely fine, no problem at all. See, suppose I am writing here 11. I am writing here 11, right? Let us cross check what is going to happen. Now I think you are clear. Now I think you are clear. See, if continue will come down to here, if immediately it will say end of the loop. So this statement will never getting executed. Sorry, if this is 11, 11 is not going to be printed at any cost, right? See what is happening here. 11 is getting printed also. 11 is getting printed, right? And when again it will go back to this point, isn't it? One second, let me check. I think there is some confusion. Like, fine. If it is 11, if see, let us cross check. If I is equal to 10, I will be 1, 1 will be getting printed. When the value of I will be plus plus, it is 11. 11 will be definitely getting printed. Once it is 11, if it will be continued, then definitely value of I will be 12 and 12 should be getting printed. Right. Now, no, the story is absolutely, the story is, see, the story is in a do while loop, the behavior is completely different. The behavior is this particular one will come down to here, not to the do. Remember this point. This is the final conclusion. This is the final conclusion. Ignore what I've said earlier. Make sure you heard this particular line. Make sure you heard this particular line. Whatever I have said earlier, please ignore all those statements. Right? So in a do while, the major point is, in a do while, whenever you are writing continue, it will directly come down to check the condition, right? Since I is equal to 11, it will be checked. Since this is false, this will be coming out of the loop. Otherwise, if this will be transferred to do, then what is going to happen? 100% pakka, I will be incremented by 1. That means I will be 12 and 12 will be definitely getting printed. Then after then this will be checked, right? No, that is not the scenario. So the scenario is, once there will be continue, it will be directly coming to the end up to this particular condition, not to here. Remaining all are same, no problem at all. This is all about continue with do while. I repeat, continue with do while does not continue does not bring to the start of the do. It is always bringing you to while, not this way. It is always in this way, right? Make sure you ignore the last thing that I have said just a few minutes before. Remaining all are fine. So the conclusion is, the conclusion is here, while writing continue for do while, where the statement goes, once continue is invoked, immediately it will be transferred to the while condition, right? Not to do. So this is the conclusion if you are using a continue statement with do while. Make sure you understand this particular point, right? And we have few conclusions to make. The conclusions are, one conclusion I want to make here. Suppose we are writing a continue statement, and along with that, what I do, I'll write one more statement for checking sake or for anything like. state continue occurred. And if you compile this particular program, remember, if you are writing any statement after continue, not only continue but also for break, remember this point. If you are writing any statement after continue or break within the same block, right, then immediately this particular statement will be raised an error. This particular statement will be unreachable, because your Java compiler can easily sense, since continue can transfer your control to here, this statement will never be executed. So why you have written this particular code? This is an error. So your compiler will raise an error, unreachable statement. This is true for not only continue but also break, right? So you cannot write a statement after break or continue with the same scope, right? Rest whatever we have discussed, that is all about your break and switch statement. Only one thing I need to conclude here: while evaluating continue for do while, make sure you should confirm every time there will be a continue statement in do while. Continue always travel to downward, not upward. This is in case of do while. In all other cases, we have clearly discussed, no confusion about all those points at all, right? Okay, thank you so much for all of you for watching this video. In the next video onwards, we'll concentrate on some more concepts of core Java programming series, that is arrays followed by class and objects, right? Till then, thank you so much. Take care and bye bye.